On October 11, 1552, Tsarevich Dmitry Ivanovich was born to Tsar Ivan IV of Russia and Tsarina Anastasia Romanovna in Moscow, marking the beginning of a brief but notable life. The birth of Dmitry was celebrated with great joy in the royal court, as he was the youngest son of the formidable Ivan IV, who was known as Ivan the Terrible, and his beloved Anastasia. Dmitry, though born into royalty, faced a precarious existence as he was a child during a time of political turbulence within the Russian Empire. Sadly, Dmitry's life was short-lived. He died at the tender age of 1 in 1553 under circumstances that remain unclear. Tsar Ivan IV was deeply affected by the loss of his son, which intensified his paranoia and contributed to his infamous reputation. Following Dmitry's death, Ivan IV increased his grip on power, leading to significant changes in his rule that would alter the course of Russian history. Dmitry's mother, Tsarina Anastasia, mourned deeply for her lost son, which some historians believe eventually contributed to her own declining health. Dmitry's brief life and subsequent death sparked legends and stories, influencing Russian culture and folklore for generations. Despite his short life, Tsarevich Dmitry's legacy has been reflected in various cultural depictions, including operas, films, and literature in Russia. The political ramifications of Dmitry's death led to a series of significant events in Ivan IV's reign, influencing alliances and enmities among the Russian nobility. Dmitry's death marked a turning point in Ivan IV's descent into tyranny, as he became increasingly isolated and paranoid about potential threats to his reign. As rumors spread regarding Dmitry's death, questions about legitimacy and the future of the monarchy began to arise, causing strife among heirs. In the wake of his death, calls for reform among the nobility grew louder, showcasing the tensions between Ivan IV and the ruling class. The strife following Dmitry's death would eventually lead to the creation of opposition movements, reflecting the mounting desire for change among the populace. Tsarevich Dmitry's spirit is still a potent symbol, often representing youth and tragedy in Russian history, remembered particularly in historical storytelling and folklore. Dmitry's short life and tragic end raised awareness surrounding the vulnerabilities of princes, reflecting the harsh realities of royal expectations and pressures. The legacy of Tsarevich Dmitry continues to influence modern interpretations of royalty, highlighting the fragile nature of power within dynastic politics. Dmitry's influence reached scholars and historians alike, leading to diverse debates regarding the impact of his premature death on the course of history. Despite the turbulent legacy, Dmitry serves as a poignant reminder of the intertwining of personal tragedy and national history in Russia. Ultimately, the tale of Tsarevich Dmitry Ivanovich transcends generations, becoming part of the rich tapestry of Russian history, forever linked with Ivan IV's reign. As Tsarevich Dmitry Ivanovich grew, he was surrounded by the opulence of the royal court, with lavish banquets held in his honor, showcasing the wealth of Ivan IV's reign. In the midst of his short life, Dmitry became a symbol of hope for a united Russia, as his existence was seen as a chance for a stabilizing heir to Ivan IV's tumultuous rule. Tragedy struck when planted seeds of political strife and instability began to sprout as rumors of Dmitry's mysterious illness circulated, causing unease among the courtiers. Despite his frail health, Dmitry's birth raised hopes for the lineage of Ivan IV, but the specter of mortality loomed large in the royal household from the beginning. Dmitry's death left a void in the royal family, leading Ivan IV to pour his grief into his governance, potentially intensifying his autocratic measures. As legends surrounding Dmitry's death began to circulate, they transformed him into a martyr figure, representing the innocent lost amidst the power struggles of Russian nobility. The aftermath of Dmitry's passing fostered increasing paranoia in Ivan IV, reflected in his subsequent purge of perceived enemies among the nobility. Anastasia Romanovna's health deteriorated further after Dmitry's death, her soft demeanor and once vibrant spirit consumed by sorrow and concern for her husband's increasingly violent rule. Following Dmitry's collapse into history, his legend only intensified, intertwining with the tales of Ivan IV's brutal reign, creating a complex narrative of loss and tyranny. Dmitry's story began to be recounted in folk tales, becoming a cautionary tale about the fragility of youth and the transient nature of power in the Russian kingdom. As Ivan IV solidified his power, Dmitry's early demise played a role in the Tsar's deepening mistrust of the nobility, resulting in a more centralized and authoritarian government. In the years following Dmitry's death, the rise of false Dmitrys emerged, each claiming to be the deceased heir, igniting civil unrest and further complicating the political landscape. The political turmoil surrounding the false Dmitrys became a reflection of Ivan IV's struggles, revealing the vulnerabilities at the center of the Russian monarchy. Some historians believe that Dmitry's tragic life impacted Russian cultural narratives, creating a historical lens that focused on tragedy and legacy in leadership. Dmitry's portrayal in art and literature symbolizes the duality of power and vulnerability, merging the tragic human condition with royal expectations. The historical discourse surrounding Dmitry's demise fueled debates about the legitimacy of rulers, asked questions about the nature of succession in a volatile environment. Throughout the centuries, Dmitry's memory continued to resonate, serving as a symbol of the tragic fates that befell young heirs in Russian history, shaping narratives of innocent loss. In folklore, Dmitry evolved into a ghostly figure representing hope and lost potential, fostering cultural tales that emphasize the morality of power and its consequences. As Ivan IV's reign progressed, the balance between political stability and personal grief would forever be marked by the memory of Dmitry's fleeting life. The legend of Dmitry's supposed return as a ghostly figure reiterated a poignant narrative within the nobility, adding layers to the already complex dynamics of power and influence. Thus, Dmitry's presence transcended his life, becoming a touchstone for historical reflection on the nature of leadership, loss, and the resulting paranoia that plagued the Russian crown. As the winter of 1552 approached, the young Tsarevich grew amidst whispers of court intrigue, with courtiers discussing potential alliances and the stability of the throne. Despite his brief existence, Dmitry's birth was seen as a beacon of hope, raising expectations for a line of strong rulers from Ivan IV's lineage to steer Russia through its challenges. In the summer of 1553, rumors spread about Dmitry's frail health, with the court holding its breath as the Tsar and Tsarina hoped for his recovery amid growing anxiety. Dmitry's sudden death sent shockwaves through the Russian court, causing Ivan IV to spiral into grief, deepening his autocratic tendencies and leading to oppressive actions against perceived enemies. As rumors surrounding Dmitry's death swirled, his memory became entwined with ideologies of legitimacy and power, influencing political factions and challenging the belief in divine rights of kings. Following Dmitry's death, multiple impostors claiming to be the Tsarevich emerged, igniting civil unrest and stirring the ambitions of rival factions within the nobility, marking an era of chaos. Dmitry's tragic life story inspired artists and writers, becoming the symbol of innocence, and the fragility of royal ambition, reflected in literature and theater throughout the ages. Tsar Ivan IV's increasing paranoia post-Dmitry's death led to violent purges and a collapse of trust within the nobility, resulting in significant political shifts and the erosion of traditional power structures. The legend of Tsarevich Dmitry, with tales of miracles and martyrdom, began to permeate Russian folklore, embedding his image in the cultural consciousness as a figure of lost potential. Dmitry's death not only affected the immediate royal family, but fueled regional conflicts and influences as various factions sought power and legitimacy in the uncertain climate that followed. As Ivan IV continued to grieve, the public's perception of his reign shifted, with many viewing him with a blend of sympathy and wariness, complicating his legacy as a ruler. Tsarina Anastasia, overwhelmed by grief, faced her own health struggles, with her mother's traditional roles becoming overshadowed by the tragic dynamics of the royal family. In Russian Orthodox faith, Dmitry was later celebrated as a holy martyr, with churches and icons emerging in his name, creating an enduring spiritual legacy. The legend of Dmitry fueled aspirations for reunification among the nobility, who hoped for stability under a strong ruler, affecting Russia's political landscape well into the future. Dmitry's memory influenced the artistic representations of royal life, leading to paintings and literature reflecting the deep melancholic beauty of lost innocence within dynastic struggles. The political instability sparked by Dmitry's death ultimately culminated in the Time of Troubles, a chaotic period illustrating the vulnerabilities of the Russian monarchy and the yearning for legitimacy. Decades later, Dmitry's story continued to inspire various historical narratives, showing the complexities of power and the influence of tragedy in shaping national identity. Dmitry's unparalleled tragedy became synonymous with the hardships faced by royal families, reminding future generations of the impacts of loss and the weight of the crown. In time, Russian history textbooks began to include Dmitry's story, underscoring its significance in discussions of monarchy, succession, and the intertwining of personal and political tragedies.